Philosophy sucks, some say, but are they right? Philosophy, I like to say, is a lot of bathwater with a little baby in the corner. The bathwater of philosophy is the stuff that fools even very smart guys. And by smart guys, I just mean, in my local vernacular, gals and guys who are above average intelligence, who kind of know they are by looking at the folks around them and as they were raised and all that. And also what their interest areas are. You know, they like puzzly stuff, they like deep stuff and complex stuff and whatever. And they know they're smart. So what fools smart guys? And the stuff that fools smart guys is the stuff that has the veneer of rigor and complexity and seriousness, but it's built on top of something gooey, and boring. So boring and inconsistent and ambiguous is the stuff that smart guys don't really want to deal with or like dealing with, right? It's like mixing gack or silly putty with your Legos. Like, that's disgusting, right? I just want to build with my Lego bricks. And so when you have like rhetoric or arguments that in fact are built on ambiguity, and that ambiguity is hard to see because they were using ordinary language and the inconsistencies of ordinary language, you won't see it and you don't even want to deal with it. But then upstairs you have this rigorous, complicated, analytical thing that appears to be emitting a very interesting, fun, attention-getting conclusion. It's easy to get fooled by those. And then it creates these cycles where you have a mix of people who are fooled and aren't fooled, and you're wondering where the problem is, and no one wants to engage in where the problem is, because that ain't smart guy territory. The problem is ordinary language is inconsistent and ambiguous, boring, right? There's also this kind of selection effect where there are certain discourses powered by this entirely, but to recognize it and to respond to it by disengaging from the discourse disengages you from the discourse. It's catch-22, right? You go into a discourse and you look around and you're like, everybody seems to think this thing is really important and matters. Well, yeah, that's because the people who paid their dues in that discourse realized it sucked and went out of there aren't there. You don't see them, right? Very common effect, expected effect to happen, but a tragic effect. And so at the end of the day, you get into this situation where the bathwater becomes a greater and greater ratio of what's left in active philosophy. The philosophy you see, pop philosophy might be a nice way of putting it, because it has that kind of pejorative edge to it. But there's still that baby in the corner, and you know what that baby is? That baby is actually rigorous and serious exercises of reasoning and decision-making. And of course, that's super important in life. Like, are you kidding me? Not only that, but that equips you to fight fire with fire, because there's going to be folks that try to use those tricks we just talked about, those intelligent conclusions, to jerk you around and oppress and make a bunch of garbage happen. And how do you combat that? Well, you better be pretty good at kung fu yourself, so to speak. And so, you know, when one asks, you know, is philosophy good? Is it helpful? It's hard to have a straight answer, because overall, it's got a lot of junk. It's got a lot of crud. But there are treasures. There's diamonds in the rough. And it's kind of my primary mission objective is to point out the patterns that smart guys can use to escape the traps, the ant mills that get you talking about stuff that doesn't matter and will never end, and focus on the stuff that can land.